Want to be a priest, and what made you take those first steps?
Yeah, for me, priesthood is it's not just about occupying an office, but for me, it is a way of realizing who I am, realizing God's call in my life. And that's an expression I like in Italian. That is essere da per. And this defines for me the meaning of life itself. Being from and for. I come to know that I am a being, a human being becomes a being created in the image and likeness of God in order to share in His glory. And sharing in the glory of God becomes the purpose of one's creation. So I see priesthood now as a way through which I come to realize this means, sharing in God's glory, and also knowing that God created me for a purpose, and this purpose is to come back to Him. And priesthood, again, for me, is not just about, realizing only myself, as in getting myself only saved, but it is also a way I come also to help God's people and also bring them to this knowledge of God. And then also they come also to know that, they have a place in God, and that place is also for the salvation of their own souls.
What excites you about the priesthood, or what ministries excite you?
I am excited about the work of priests, bringing. Oh, please.
You're all right. You can start again if you want.
Okay. I am excited about the work a priest does, like the sacraments, being able to walk in persona Christi, that is in the person of Christ, to the people. Yeah, to help also to see that they love Christ and then come to the realization of their being. Beautiful.
What do you find most encouraging or enjoyable about seminary life?
Yeah, it encourages me more when I see young people like myself, who strive, to follow Christ, and this is a radical decision, for one to give the person's life wholeheartedly, and also to rely always on the grace and also the will of God in the person's life, and also the wish of the formators, because sometimes it is not just about what I think, but it is also what about the other person thinks. So, and when we work together like this with our formators, we come really to understand whether really this call is coming from God, and that is just what we term as discernment period. So when I see young men who are motivated also just like myself to this way of following Christ, then I am so much encouraged also that that we can all make it.
Has anything surprised you about either seminary life or about the discernment process?
Yeah, in my job, there are some seminarians I have looked up to, that, these are the good guys, and, their life, they have been so simple, they are always there at prayer on time, and, they are well dedicated, if I could say, but in the end, you see that some of them, either they live by themselves or they were asked to go. So sometimes I I started thinking, what is really the driving force? What is really, what it's, there is this, whether, I could, make it, going by this way. So so that really is a surprise. It's a surprising thing for me. For me. So.
How have you grown in your knowledge of and relationship with God and with yourself?
Yeah, when I entered newly, there's this tendency in me to, lock myself in a wall, to kind of, I have the tendency of being, just locking myself up, being to myself alone. But the seminary life really, especially at prayer, communion with God, and also listening to God at prayer, it has helped me a lot to, expose myself, bring myself, come out, especially in the terms of relationship, to try to understand that I am a weak person, that, I have some weaknesses, and the other also has some weaknesses. So I come to realize myself, and from realization of self-knowledge, to know that this other person has some weaknesses, and that I can also live with a person, and that also made me to open myself to receiving others, and being able to live with them, and also praying to God for the grace also, because it's not just by my power or by what I can do, but also the grace of God that carries me on, to live my life as a seminarian.
Anything else that you think people should know about the vocation to the priesthood, about seminary life, about discernment? Anything else you'd like to share about yourself or about any of the process?
Yeah, I would like the people to know that the priesthood or being in the seminary is not just about what I think, or not what others think about me, but it is about the call, the call of God. And that comes from the word vocation, vocar, to call. And first of all, there is all from God. And then after the call, now man, being in the seminary or being a priest is a way of responding to this call. First of all, the call must come from God, and then man responds. And sometimes we could respond in a way that is genuine. Then that's now comes the essence of formation. And then at formation, one has to be very careful to listen to voices, because sometimes voices speak to us. We hear voices, some might be good and some could also be terrible. And also we see people, sometimes we are motivated what others do, but when one comes to realize that the person has a call, the person has to give dispose himself, to give himself completely to this call, and then to follow listen to God through the formators, because the formators are there to help this person, to come to the knowledge, to really know that, yeah, this is the best way for me, or I'm not really following the best path. So for me, it is good for one, when one is coming into the seminary, to dispose himself very well, to receive, what God is really telling the person, asking the person to do through the formators. Thank you.
All right, awesome job.